Good evening. I'd like to welcome everyone to our Board of Health meeting. It is Monday, March 9th at 6:01 p.m. We'll do a roll call for who is present. Stephanie Granger here, Joanne,
Here.
Michelle,
Here.
and Megan.
Here.
Okay. So yeah, I'm sorry I didn't print or pull up the agenda. I looked at it. Let's see if I have it. Or I can see, or if Ray, you can pull
Yep,
that.
first order of business is to call to order
Okay. And then
and
open
open
Minute.
forum.
forum.
Minutes. Oh, open forum.
Yeah. So for open forum, we just wanted to recognize Michelle. This is going to be her last meeting. She has been serving the town of Westford for 15 years on the Board of Health and really, for the years I've been there, I think brought a very valuable background and presence to the board. And we thank you so much for your service, Michelle.
Thank you, Stephanie. I'm going to definitely miss working with you guys.
Oh, you will be missed.
You will be missed.
100%.
And 15 years, that's impressive.
Yes,
Yeah,
thank you.
it's actually, I think 15 and a half
That's great. Oh,
by
because
May.
you came on like a partial term, right?
I was appointed in November of 2010 when a position was vacated and Sandy Collins um, encouraged me to run, and there were five contestants at that point,
Wow.
and the select board chose me. So November of 2010.
They made a great choice, and thank you. Sorry, just trying to pull up our agenda. Okay. Is there any other, Ray?
I wanted to just say to Michelle that we really appreciate all her years of service and she's been a huge support here at the health department and really brought in her expertise for environmental health and helped with the hazardous materials over the years and COVID and all kinds of roller coaster topics. So we hugely appreciate it and want her to enjoy her time and whatnot. So we know this isn't the end and we'll see her around. So just want to say thank you.
Thank
I
you so
also
much.
do have a question in open
Okay.
forum. So I just
Okay.
wanted to let you know that.
I just have to step aside for a second. My battery is dead. I have to go find my cord to plug in.
Okay. All right. Shall we take the question? And we'll just ask that this question not be about anything that is on the agenda.
Right. I was just asking, is the item on the agenda, is Kratom on the agenda as an item or is it for open forum? I didn't know which.
Yeah, it's on the agenda at 6:30.
Okay, thank you. That's what I want to know. Thanks for your time. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Any other questions? Okay, then seeing none, we can move on to our minutes from February. I didn't catch anything in them. Did anybody have any comments on the minutes? Megan?
My name is misspelled.
Oh, good.
I don't know if it really matters. I know it's a weird spelling, but it's AE, not EA.
Yep. I actually was laughed at myself when I said that because I realized I didn't look at those details when I read through them. I'm like, oh, I'm assuming they're fine from previous meetings. So I'm glad you caught that. So, okay. Would anybody like to make a motion to approve the minutes with the correction on the spelling of Megan's name?
I think Michelle should make all of the motions tonight.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that motion.
Great. Motion made and seconded. All in favor. Stephanie, aye. Joanne,
Aye.
Michelle,
Aye.
and Megan.
Aye.
Great. Thank you. That passes with all four of us present. Okay, so then our next agenda item, I guess we're a little early. Do we know if
Yes, Mr. Fitch is on. So if you want to take that item, I'm happy to give you a little background.
Yeah, let's go ahead with the item, which is the 8 Pilgrim Drive State Sanitary Code violation. And the owner requested a Board of Health hearing. And Ray, will you fill us in on that?
Certainly. So early January, we received a complaint at the counter from Mr. John Fitch, who resides at Pilgrim Village Condo Trust. Condos. He is the condo owner of his residence, and he brought forth some questions and concerns about some rotting wood in the sill around his window and some areas on the exterior of the building. He brought to our attention that there is a property management company and also a property owner, which is under Pilgrim Village Trust. And so we did go out and do an inspection. Our health agent went out, did take pictures, and cited the association with the information that we had at the time. We cited the association for the repairs within 30 days for reinspection. During that time, the association had some representatives and the property management come in with some rules and regulations. And according to them, they didn't feel they were responsible to make the corrections because of the rules and regulations that they have. I did reach out to town council where there was a dispute between the association and the owner. Town council did advise that the Board of Health does not need to make a specific decision on this case. And he advised to have both parties be issued an order to correct and bring them to housing court if there was not any kind of compliance. And so at the end of the day, for our department to help Mr. Fitch, we just want to see that compliance is taken care of. Since then, the association and the property management has come forward and has offered to do the repairs as of last week. We did give them a timeline of the end of April because of all the snow and the melting, and that it will need to be not only the wood replaced, but painted. And so I was advised this afternoon that they are working on replacing the wood and that they will finish in time for reinspection for the end of April. Mr. Fitch is on, and he would like to speak with the board to be documented of the event. And so he's within his right to certainly do that. So I'm happy to allow him to, put him to be able to speak when you're ready.
Sure. Just before that, can you explain to me why the health department is involved in this?
So what happens is we enforce the state sanitary code, which are the housing regulations. And anytime an owner or tenant has an issue with their residence that falls within these regulations, we are required to not only take those complaints in, but to investigate those complaints. And if a violation is cited, we would cite whoever is responsible to repair or to take care of the violation to come into compliance. And so as part of our enforcement order letter, as you could see in the packet, and as part of the state sanitary code, everyone has a right to a Board of Health hearing within 7 days of receipt of the order.
Okay, then I guess we can invite Mr. Fitch, sorry.
Yes.
Hi, John. Are you able to turn on your camera? You're also muted.
Mr. Fitch? Looks like you are unmuted.
Well, go
Hello?
through video. I'm trying. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, if you can't use your camera, allow. This is so slow. Okay, by the way, I have a suggestion. A host should sign on a little early to these things so you know if the connection is working instead of just a little circle, so this stuff can be solved. Anyway, so one thing I've got to first say is absolutely incorrect. This is not a condominium. It's on your tax rolls. I have fought with the town I said, this is not a condominium. And when I go to refi, it causes a problem because of the regs for He contacted the state. And anyway, he said, we haven't got another tax category. It affects the legal issues a lot. This is not a condominium. This is a unicorn. Nothing like it has existed before in the Commonwealth, I think, or ever will again. An eccentric lady whose family owned all the land around Keys Pond, wanted to preserve it, enjoyed riding her horse around her beloved forest. And the last piece around Keys Pond she put in place to protect it before she was getting old was to do this development where 80% of the land has been given a conservation grant thing to the town of Westford. You keep track of that stuff. And these attached wood structures of 3 homes each that are scattered. We live with 100 and 150 foot tall, towering, mature trees around us. So this is absolutely unique that functionally, as far as this is concerned, I say it could be a condominium because the declaration that Ms. Dick saw and agreed and got this enforcement letter against them clearly says they are responsible for the exterior maintenance, including all exterior surfaces of the building except for glass. And that's it, open and shut. And so I have this proper enforcement order against them. And my understanding, Ray skipped, is she told me as I followed the progression that they decided to acquiesce and let the 7-day deadline go down for appealing to you folks. That's it. Now you check the statute. Someone who is aggrieved by a final decision of this board can go to Housing Court or Superior Court, period. If they don't go through you and get a final decision from you, all rights to judicial relief or anything are gone. So whether the issue is right or wrong, who is responsible, it's over. They acquiesced. It cannot even be raised. Even if it's wrong, I'm holding a piece of paper I could take to Lowell Housing Court and have enforced. If you wouldn't do it, you are obligated now by the law and your duties to enforce this. Whether it was right doesn't matter. They decided to acquiesce. That's the legal. They didn't say we're guilty. They didn't say we're not. They did nothing. So a description that you had a problem here and went to the town council to resolve, and he said, both, that's utter garbage. This is over. There's nothing to resolve. This meeting is not about this. And I submit it is beyond your authority or power to do anything about this. He didn't get your hearing. I claim you cannot quash this. Not a question of right or wrong. That can't even be raised. And then I was shocked. And so I spoke to Gail, who came out to inspect. And I said, some person that I've seen a lot, I'm cynical and jaded. And I said, this place is strange. I own the building, my part of the building and the foundation under it, even the entire outside. But the declaration says the trust is responsible for all exterior maintenance, just as if it was a condominium. So in this matter, the difference between it and a condominium doesn't matter, except that I said some wiseacre I described would be an immoral, scurrilous person that I would not surprise exists. I said, is somebody in City Hall going to say, let's screw Mr. Fitch and say he's responsible because he's owner and occupant? And Gail assured me, no, that won't happen. She said, we deal with condominiums. We know the law. So explain to me how this happened when Gail assured me it would not. I was worried. I give you the benefit of the doubt at first that there wouldn't be any corruption or nothing like this would happen. Gail assured me it wouldn't, but it has. So now you understand this meeting is all about this. It has nothing to do with this one. This is outside of your hands. You do like any power to deal with this, quash it, or do anything about it. But so, and I'll tell you what I think happened is they did not want to come before you and get a decision. The last thing they want is an order from me, from anybody judging it, that they are responsible for the windows. So they said, we're acquiescing. We don't want this to get before the board. They would rather go all the way through and have you enforce it and spend the $5,000 it might cost to fix. That's small potatoes to what's at stake here. What is at stake for them is $400,000 or $500,000. After this place was built, around 1981, windows all over America were rotting. Andersen Windows survived. The other two major competitors went bankrupt. The builder was scared. He's now, today, to replace all the windows in place would be $820,000 or $840,000. He had a problem. So he implored on the trustees, who he picked for the initial development, to tell a big whopping lie to the unit owners and say, look, a big, beautiful new thing, but by the way, we're not responsible for windows. I would say the lady doth protest too loudly, methinks. So the statute of repose in Massachusetts, he had 7 years he had to go, and then they couldn't sue him. Now, so this lie has propagated down for 40 plus years. When I got in, I was a trustee for 3 years. We didn't get along. I would not go along, as all the other trustees had for 41 years, with this lie. I've been figuring, how am I set a goal, I want to deal with this and stop it. And one day, and my window started rotting. And I realized that's so bad. That's a sand code violation. I can use the town of Westford Board of Health against them. I made the complaint. Everything went by the board. They acquiesced. They didn't want to fight it. I've got my order that can be enforced. If you won't do it, I can go to low housing court. And so that's kind of it. Now, what's going on? Now, the problem for them is about half the windows in the place have had to be replaced. For 40 plus years, they lied and they refused to maintain them. They wouldn't even do a modicum of carpentry, patching, filling cracks. So they deteriorated, I say, faster than they should have. I'd say if they'd just done maintenance, most of them or all would still be in good condition. Their dishonesty here and breach of fiduciary duty has actually cost the owners of the place maybe $400,000 or $500,000. I haven't done a count, because if I went around staring at everyone's windows, so I haven't tried to get a count of it. Okay. And I've been figuring out how to deal with this. And it's open and shut. Ray has a copy of the declaration. Now, about this garbage, about rules and regulations, there's many counts on which that is wrong. The most global one I don't have much time to explain here. Massachusetts, 1962, passed a law that wiped all restrictions off the land. It had to do with racial covenants and stuff. I asked an attorney once, so they only state in the nation moral enough to do this. I said, did they wipe out all servitudes on the land and throw out the baby with the bathwater because of racial covenants? He said, yes. So actually, they cannot pass any rules or regulations about my building at all. No one in Massachusetts can have a thing in someone else's deed to tell them what to do. Now, the second most important thing is that in any case, the courts agree the restrictions very narrowly that can be enforced must be recorded at the Registry of Deeds. They have never done this. If you don't record it, the courts won't even look at it. It's a worthless piece of paper. The next problem is obvious. Rules and regulation. You've got the declaration that takes every single unit owners that they cannot change. This one was in perpetuity to preserve the forest. It's unchangeable. But it just takes 3 members of the board to change a rule or regulation. Now, the courts in condos where you got a stack up of master deed, bylaws, rules said they're harder to change as you get to the top. And so they said a rule or reg that they can change at their whim cannot change a matter that belongs in the bylaws, because that would be circumventing the requirement that it takes a 50% vote to change the bylaws. Likewise, you can't stick in the bylaw. There's no way they can write a rule or regulation that nullifies a major feature, and something laymen could easily understand. This is ridiculous. It's absurd, because
it sounds like you're quite, very aware of all the situations.
Yeah.
Think around it, but it also sounds like at this point things are resolved in a satisfactory manner, or at least
sort of.
They haven't been fully resolved, but the plan is for that to go forward.
But I've been really inconvenienced and bothered. This is inexcusable. We could go into it. I think when this matter is settled, you absolutely couldn't issue this one. there's the
I'm sorry,
principle.
I don't understand what you were just saying.
Well, the way the law looks at it is you're lying here. There's a defense, estoppel, that's sometimes called the shut your lying mouth defense. And I'll read here the definition you can get online. The principle which precludes a person from asserting something contrary to what is implied by a previous action or statement of that person.
Madam Chair.
Yeah.
So the
Sorry,
logic
John,
is,
I have a board member who'd like to make a
if you
comment.
say both of these, you're lying because one of them must be false. So
Okay.
once you did the first one, this is garbage and I could get it thrown out in an instant. Now, what I want though from
But
you,
I still don't understand what you're referencing.
okay, we got a letter of enforcement that was properly done. It's over with them. And Ray was wrong saying there's some issue or no. When they acquiesced and did not file to go before you in 7 days, it's over, finished. No one can challenge it. Doesn't matter if it's right or wrong. You're obliged by the law to enforce it, even if you think it's wrong. Now, when you issue this one, you made an absolutely contradictory statement and claim I'm responsible. It doesn't matter if it's right or wrong. You are contradicting what you put in the first one. So the law says, estoppel, my sister says it's pronounced. You cannot
Madam Chair.
contradict what you put in the first one.
Okay,
Open and
Mr.
shut.
Fitch,
Your
I'm going to
town
ask you to
council.
stop right now.
Yep.
I'm going to hear from Joanne, and then I have another comment. Joanne?
I'm glad that Mr. Fitch is here so he can talk and state his case, but I'm lost in what all this has to do with the actual order. I'm very well versed in the housing code, and I understand what this health department did in order to try to facilitate a resolution to the problem. And as far as I can tell from all the information given, it has been come to a resolution that whoever, whether it's a condo or not a condo, the management
Yeah.
company has agreed to do the work and do the work in a timely manner. In fact, they've started the work, in which case we're done. The work is getting done. The sills will be fixed, and this is over. I'm not exactly sure what else is going on here. And then in
Okay.
the essence of time, I think we need to move on.
Because I have a right to be heard and have this
And you
hearing
have,
because
and
you
Mr.
issued
Fitch,
this.
you have been, but you are now speaking about condos and not condos and
Yeah.
history and all. And we are here to deal with the orders that are presented in front of us. And as far as I can see, those situations have been rectified.
Yes. Is there anything, Ray, that has been presented to you that, as far as you're aware, is not resolved here?
So they have a timeline. The association asked for a timeline of the end of April, which we have approved. We will make sure that Mr. Fitch gets a copy of that, so he will have that for his records. I did talk to him over the phone about that. And my understanding, like I said, is late this afternoon, the property management company said they have already started the work. They still need to paint, and we would have to do a reinspection to make sure that they corrected it the way we asked. And Mr. Fitch would also get a copy of that final reinspection, and he'll get an additional closure letter as well as the association.
Okay.
And Madam Chair, if I may just jump into,
yes.
I do have to say that I'm a little bothered by the allegations that there was some corruption going on. As I was trying to hear what Mr. Fitch was trying to explain, that things were not done according to the law, that, I mean, Miss Dick had reached out to legal to make sure that she was doing things correct. And I really don't like that allegation out there that there was some kind of corruption or inappropriate procedures followed, because we know that Miss Dick does everything correctly and by the book. So I just wanted to get that comment in there, Mr. Fitch. And what we have in front of us has been addressed.
Yeah.
But I have a right, I think, you have to come out with a final decision. Ray said no, only that, but my reading of the statute of how someone can appeal, and it doesn't seem like it's optional you can't avoid generating a decision. I think what the decision should say is more clearly than just the sentence in this. I would like a decision where you can say you investigated this and the trust is responsible for the windows, and it cannot matter that they made a rule. Now, I don't know how someone screwed up. Someone came in and persuaded Ray to start this action. They
That
didn't
was
want.
you.
No. I started this action, and then you started a second one.
Okay.
And
I'm going to pause. You would like to speak?
and so,
John, just a moment. I've asked Ray to speak.
yeah.
So I would just like to say that when the association reached out, because they received a letter, and so anyone that receives a letter from the board or from this department has every right, as you did, to reach out. And so they did reach out and they presented their rules and regulations, which again, on behalf of Mr. Fitch, in my opinion, did not specifically say they cover the window, they cover the sill, they do not, it wasn't clear in either document. So I did reach out to town council, as Mr. Fitch is aware, in this board, to say, we have two parties that are stating the other one is responsible. How would you like us to handle that? How would you like our board to handle that? And
But that's
so
absolutely a false description. And
Excuse me,
remember
Mr.
that-
Fitch.
under, just so I can
Ray is the
finish.
one recognizing.
Under the town council's advice, he said it is not for the board to have to make this decision. Send an order to both parties who's responsible, and you can file with housing court if the no repairs are been made.
Well, one word at least I want to get in is there's an article that just appeared in the Lowell yesterday, coincidentally. The Lowell Town Council, it said, is eyeing at funding for counselors to get their own legal counsel, not to have to depend on the city of Lowell's. So I advise you, a man cannot serve two masters. And I don't know who hired, but I'll tell you, the town council works for the selectmen. If you want an attorney you can trust and you know is acting in your best interests, you have to go out and get your own attorney.
All right.
I say he has not been acting in your best interest. That's where the corruption comes in. He works for the selectmen, not for you.
Megan, you had a comment?
I was just gonna, I don't want to be, back and forth, but it just seems like, Ray, thank you for going to the town council. And I think if, we have to make a decision here, it's to follow what the town council for Westford already advised. So it doesn't really seem like we have anything to decide.
Right. I don't think that there's anything for the board to do at this time that, Ray, you have your hand up. Did you want to say one more thing?
No, I'm sorry. I just wanted to let you know that there is a hand raised, and I'm not sure if it pertains to this discussion.
If there's somebody else with a comment on this, I guess we can recognize them and hear their comment. Jeff Reagan, would you like to speak to this? Please state your name and address for the record.
I'm sorry. Unmute. I don't mean to do that. I'll only lower my hand. I apologize.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, no problem. Thank you. Okay, so Mr. Fitch, I think at this point we've heard, and I hear some of your concerns and complaints and about the situation and the history, and I think many of us can relate to the challenges. But at the moment, I think Ray has done everything she's supposed to do in moving forward. That currently there's a resolution that seems like should be favorable to you, and so I think for the moment things seem like they're resolved.
Okay, Joanne, are you related to Russell Belanger?
I don't know that that's relevant to our meeting.
It is not relevant, and I'm not responding.
Okay.
Okay. Bye-bye. I guess then you're moving on to the agenda.
Yes. Thank you, though.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Okay. Our next agenda item is the Kratom draft regulation discussion and vote. So I know we have participants here probably for this. Before we get started, I'd like to say that, I know the board has received a lot of letters and emails, and we've reviewed those. We've been considering them for the last few months. We've had discussions with people attending our meeting and with Cheryl Sparrow to share some information further on regulations and Kratom. The board was pretty unanimous in our expressing an interest in a regulation. And so I think right now we'll go ahead and discuss that regulation, the draft regulation as we have it. Joanne, you have your hand up. Say, did anybody have comments or questions? I had one, but Joanne.
I know I jumped in real quick. I don't know if anybody else has anything. I did. So one thing I noticed was in the clean copy, item number 5.
As Medford?
Yeah, it has Medford. Yeah.
That was
that everybody's comment? Yeah. I did have a question, and I'm assuming this came from legal, but I did want to ask it. I did notice in the marked up one, with the addendum piece, that first of all, the addendum, the whereas, I have seen a lot of regulations where that's written first because it gives a precursor to why the regulation is going into effect, and then at the end is the regulation. Whereas therefore the board is going to do this.
I think that would make more sense because I was confused by that.
Yeah. So in the clean copy, it's at the end, but the therefore was also taken out. So it gives all the whereases, which is, all the reasoning behind, but it doesn't give the reason why the board is doing this. So I didn't know how that came about and why that was changed.
Ray, do you have any?
Sure. So this regulation, I would say that most communities that are passing the Kratom regulations are utilizing Northampton's, as Cheryl Sabaro suggested. When I spoke to town council about the whereas, he said that it was really the purview of the board. We could certainly put it in the beginning or keep it to the end with all of the references. So I did leave it in as the appendix that I should say that the other communities have also adopted, but we could certainly put that at the front. That's not a problem. The Medford piece, I'm going to say that was a typo because this was Northampton's regulation. So I'm going to say that NEM went
auto-corrected to Medford or something.
Right. And you'll notice the town council did ask on page 3 under prohibition, synthetically derived THC. So we did change that to cannabinoids. And our department has a plan to provide an education campaign, as well as we have found that most people don't know what kratom is. And so with regulating, unlike the motel hotel regulations we just had, we want to make sure that we tie that piece today. We would be looking for an effective date. I would say to give the establishments whatever you'd like for time, but whether that's effective today, tomorrow, or we would need to send a letter out to all of our gas stations and just to let them know that it's no longer, if this board does pass this regulation.
What is the earliest that's reasonable?
We could have a letter out this week.
Okay. So with an effective date then of
maybe a week out.
Okay.
Actually, I was going to suggest like a month, just to make
it the start of April
like the start of April 1st. So it's kind of a clean start. Do you think that would
works.
be reasonable?
Again, if you decide to go that route. Yep.
Okay. Any other questions or comments on the regulation? I had something and I can't remember what it was now.
Well, before you go, just for clarity, so will we put the wherefores or whereas, whereas in the beginning, and then therefore the Board of Health, then that paragraph about therefore, so it explains?
I would like that. I think that because I was confused with the whereases that just drop off. I was like, whereas what?
You gotta have the
We
therefore.
just so we can clarify too. So you would like all of those paragraphs to start before paragraph A, which is authority on page 1.
Let's see if I can look at
Yeah, there's a lot of whereases, but I mean, they're legitimate.
There are a lot.
Yeah.
And that I'm guessing that that's why they put them at the end, but we can put them in front.
So those are starting.
It's the addendum at the end.
So they do start on page 6.
Yeah, so it's about a page of whereases, page and a
Yes.
or a page. I think that's reasonable to put at the front. I mean, maybe it doesn't, I don't know. What are the other board members? Maybe it doesn't matter. It confused me when I was reading it. I was like, I got to the end of the whereases and I was like, well, what?
Well, I think we need the therefore, the reasoning after the whereases, but whether
So
it's
we can just
placed
leave
as an
them there.
addendum or placed in the beginning to explain the regulation is kind of, it's just a placement where we
Okay.
want it.
Michelle or Megan, do you have thoughts on that?
I think the whereases should come first. And then the therefore is the conclusion.
Yeah. I think it's just clearer. You know, maybe this is commonly done this way, but it didn't make sense to me. So I was confused. So yeah, before the A, authority. You're okay with that, Megan?
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot. Um,
Otherwise, Joanne, you're saying you would just put a therefore at the end of the whereases? Or put a therefore before authority?
Oh, I have to put it, no, typically you would start with the whereases, the explanation as to why this is an important topic. Then, therefore, the Board of Health is going to do
Mm-hmm.
this. And this is a regulation, as opposed to, you can, like a proclamation or anything like that. This is going to be a regulation, and then the regulation starts.
Okay.
But, you know, typically there may not be as many whereases, but you usually have to, you know, in this type of a regulation, as opposed to, you know, I'm trying to think of something that isn't as, maybe the housing ones, I mean, or the hotel ones. It isn't as, doesn't need as much explanation, in other words, because
People understand it.
people understand it. This needs explanation as to why this is an important topic to us.
Yeah, I think I think it makes sense to me to put, even if they are long, to put them at the
Put it
start.
all first, therefore,
Yeah.
Board of Health under the authority, blah, blah, blah. And then
People
the
can
rest of,
skip it if they're not interested in reading it and want to get to the meat. They'll see that.
or they'll understand then why the regulation follows in the way it
Yeah.
does, is that this is really important. So
Oh, I know what my question was, Ray. In reading some of the comments, particularly that from maybe it was Lowell Board of Health and the Littleton Police Chief, they talked about production. Did we? I don't believe we had anything about production, or do we?
Well, we have otherwise provide for human consumption, but we do not have the specific words for production. which
Um,
we're happy to
I
add.
think that might need to be added. We've had issues in town with production, and I don't think we want, even if they're not selling, I mean, they would, I don't know how that would fall under selling, but I think, we might as well include that. Any other thoughts on that?
Yeah, I agree.
Okay,
'Cause-
so we can add no business, no person, business, or other entity shall sell, comma, offer for sale, distribute, produce, or otherwise provide for human consumption any of the following within the town of Westford.
That's perfect. Yeah.
Kratom, synthetic, derived, and unregulated novel intoxicating products.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yep. Got it.
Did anybody else have any comments? I guess we can then, if there's no other comments at the moment, we can see if there are participants who are wanting to speak. If you want to speak at this point, we would be looking for you to share comments about the regulation. We did have people already come and share comments about their feelings on kratom, its risk or not risk. So if somebody is here to comment on the regulation specifically, we can invite you to speak. And if you do, please share your name and your address for the record. And
Okay.
please keep your comments to 2 minutes or less.
Okay. And I do want to just say that any email that we received or letter was sent to the Board of Health members.
Yeah.
So,
We'd
okay. So
appreciate
first
it.
one is Holly Truville.
Okay. Hello, Holly.
Hi. Can you hear me? I guess I just want
Yeah.
clarification first. Is your
Name and address.
I'm sorry. Holly Truval, Tennis Plaza Road, Dracut, Massachusetts.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is your regulation for all kratom natural and synthetic?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. And I've already set my story, so I know you don't want any of us to talk about it. I just didn't know there are already 20 cities and towns that have banned kratom completely. And I just wanted to ensure, I know you were using Northampton's, and I know they had originally
We
banned
have their recent one. They're newer.
Oh, perfect. Okay, then I don't want to waste your time and anything else because you don't want stories because you already had them. I was just wanting clarification because I wasn't sure if it was natural and synthetic or just synthetic.
We appreciate that. And it is the comments
Okay.
that people have shared with us that have helped to make sure that we've understood that well.
Okay, thank you then for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay. Next we have Melody.
Hi, I appreciate your time.
Name and address for the record.
Melody Wolf, 2604 Glendale, Kalamazoo, Michigan.
Thank you.
And I'm here to ask you to follow the HHS, FDA, and NIDA guidance. I spent February 17th through the 20th with regulators and scientists from every one of those agencies and more at the federal level. None of them talked about a ban of any kind beyond an age gate. That included our keynote speaker, Dr. Nora Volko, who is the director of NIDA. She gave the same favorable stance on kratom as she did at the 2023 U.S. Congressional briefing, as she did at the 2024 U.S. Congressional briefing, which I was also asked to give my testimony. And no one talked about a ban about kratom beyond an age gate. They didn't talk about a sales ban, anything. What they did talk about, that was 7-OH being banned. And that is a synthetic. Now, they talked a lot about that, and that I support getting rid of. And this tracks with the joint HHS press briefing, that they had with the FDA, where I was asked to talk about the benefits of kratom to my life and to distinguish it from 7-OH, which is synthetic and should be banned. I had to clear my testimony with HHS and FDA. They knew exactly what I was going to say. And they could not have been clearer that they are against the synthetic and not the natural leaf. I mean, why else would they invite somebody to talk about the benefits about kratom? And I don't know, this past summer, I spent the entire summer chasing my granddaughter around every splash pad in the area and the Detroit Zoo. The same zoo where my kids had to push me around in a wheelchair. I now chase my granddaughter around the zoo. Um, I just would implore you, just please reconsider. I appreciate your time. I know it's a hard decision for you guys as well, and there's a lot to take in. So just thanks for listening to me. I appreciate it.
Thank you. We did hear discussion about the synthetic versus whole leaf and what is available and how it's presented and such, and that influenced our decision to do a complete ban because whole leaf really, per what we understand, is not available in the stores here. Joanne?
I'm sorry, Melody, you referenced an organization by
Right.
initials, and I'm not familiar with it. Could you tell us what that is?
Melody, are you there? Can you?
Oh, did you?
I'm still,
And
You said HHS and NIDA?
NIAID?
no, NIDA, HHS,
NIDA.
FDA, and then NIDA. And she was our keynote speaker. She has the same favorable stance.
Oh, NIDA is a
No, what?
person.
Oh, NIDA is a person, not an organization?
No, the National Institute
Oh.
of Drug Abuse at the federal level. And the director of it is Dr. Nora Volko.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, you're welcome. And again, thanks again for your time. I appreciate you giving me a space to talk. It's important to me.
Well, thank you.
Okay, next we have Laura.
Hi, Laura.
Hi there. Can you hear me?
Yes, please.
Great,
Your
great.
name.
Yeah, thank you. I just have a quick question for you. So it sounds like you actually went to your stores then and saw what was actually being sold. Is that correct?
We talked with people who were familiar in our state and local in general area.
Well, that's what concerns me because I know we've heard a couple, like for instance, we've had those cities that have actually gone in and actually looked at the shelves to see. Like if you saw what I sent you today, did you get that email that I sent you today that
Yes.
showed the good and the bad? Does that make sense? So you can actually see that there is a very distinct difference between the synthetic products, obviously called opia and perks and all those, tablets and things that are really bad. And then of course there is the natural products, kratom. Sadly enough, in a lot of the stores, there are, the majority of what is being sold is the synthetic, which is horrifying. So, I mean, what I suggest, and because again, what you're doing is you're by banning the whole thing, you're actually abandoning those patients that really do depend on this. I know there's a gal that's on the call. Her name is Shannon. I just know she's in. By the way, I'm in Utah. I work for the International Plant and Herbal Alliance as a volunteer there, and but I know she's there, and I know she's just terrified that Massachusetts is going to ban and that her city is going to ban. So I know it's just so hard when people are really sick and they depend on it for their pain relief. So what I suggest, if you would consider doing this revision, is of course saying, okay, I'm going to again keep natural plant kratom legal with the parameters that I showed you on my email. And then say all of the synthetics, they need to be banned. And so the reality of it is you could literally go into your store and find out that all of the products need to go, truly, because
Which is what we've been told is this situation.
That's what I'm saying. So what you could do, again, this is just a suggestion for you that would then help maybe, I don't know, maybe improve the situation where it would maybe encourage them to purchase or to, stock good products. You could go in, with the parameters I showed you, clean house and say, we're getting rid of all of the stuff that doesn't fit in those parameters. And then, if they do fit, that has to be laboratory tested, properly labeled, it's natural plant kratom. And then they come to you and say, hey, guess what? I have a product, natural plant kratom, that is wanting to be sold. Does this fit the parameters? And then they're allowed to sell it. So
Okay.
again, it would do what you are asked to do. You know, you want to clean, which I don't blame you, by the way, at all. Clean house from all the garbage, the dangerous garbage that's out there, but then allow the natural plant kratom to be available if they stock the right product. So
Thank
just
you.
a suggestion for you.
Yep, thank you.
Dan Gibbs.
Hi, Dan, please state your name and address for the record.
Yeah, Dan Gibbs. I'm from Columbus, Ohio. I'm also not going to waste your time. I had a child die from natural leaf kratom. I'd like to commend you for doing your homework, doing your research, joining all the other municipalities in Massachusetts that have done this. Also, for the record, all of these advocates are with the American Kratom Association. They talk on behalf of them, or they're vendors, or they have an interest in the industry. But thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Jeff Regan.
Hi, Jeff. Name and
Hi, I unmuted myself. I'm Jeff. I'm from Gloucester. Why do you care what we do in Massachusetts? I'm only doing this, and I don't work for the AKA. I do this out of the love I have for people that are in pain, like Laura. She said everything that I could possibly say. She's been doing this for a long time. And it's just for mainly folks that hurt so bad, there's nothing left. And they can't have the opioids that they want because for one, it looks like they're addicted if they take more than two a day. You know, they last maybe 4 hours. But for those that are at a 9 or a 10, and you've been around long enough to see these people in pain. I don't need to tell you this is your town. You've done your research. This is just to help those people on their last leg. And that's all I can say. Thank you for your consideration.
thank you. You're muted, Ray.
Oh, sorry. I think that is everyone.
Okay. So, I mean, I appreciate everyone's comments, and I think we did discuss pretty much all of these issues that were brought up in our meetings, and so, but I do appreciate again that people care enough to share their concerns on both sides of the situation. At this point, did anybody have any other comments on the regulations or when they should be effective? Joanne?
Just a question, and I guess it's more to Ray. Just in terms of, the community and what you're seeing and what you need to do, especially with doing that educational program, if you will, that you were talking about. What do you think is a reasonable time frame with everything,
I would say April 1st or April, the beginning of the month, so we have a few weeks to put together the educational piece, the letter, because not only is it for the public, but it's also for our stores. And I just do want to let you know that we have been in the stores. We do have a partnership inspector that is already in the stores for tobacco. I will say not all convenience stores, but it's in all the stores that have tobacco permits in our community. And we have had an adult smoke shop selling these products. So we have been in the stores, and yeah, that's all I'll say there.
because it's, what is it, the 9th? I don't even know.
The 9th.
So
Yeah,
so
that's
that gives you like 3 weeks. Do you
Yep.
think that's adequate for you and for the establishments that have to get rid of this product? That's not an unreasonable thing to say.
Yes.
So in other words, we can't say, make it go away tomorrow. I mean, we want to make sure everybody
We want to be fair.
is treated. So
Yeah, and Ray and I discussed potentially, we can find a way to advertise and have another night where we discuss it even as a board and have maybe somebody come in and talk. is part of education. The town manager was really concerned that, people just don't really know much about this. So just trying to think of different ways to provide education to the town, both maybe through schools, and we can look at that moving forward.
Okay. Well, I would put forth then April 1st, as long as, again, it works with Ray and the health department and the staff, knowing that it's staff time, it's only a couple weeks, but if you're good with it, Ray, then I'll put forth April 1st.
Okay.
Yes.
So we'll change the Medford to Westford. We'll put the whereases at the front with the therefore, and we'll have the one thing about what's the word?
Produce. Produce.
Produce.
Produce.
Thank you. I'm like,
Sorry.
it's a P.
It's been a long day. Sorry. Produce.
Produce. And with those changes, I'll make a motion to, what do I need to say here? Oops. I can't see anything. To accept the Kratom regulations with those changes effective April 1st.
2026. Yep.
Of 2026. So
I can second.
a motion made and seconded. And with that, all in favor, I have Joanne.
Aye.
Stephanie, aye. Michelle.
Aye.
And Megan.
Aye.
Great. Now I am not looking. Let me see if I can get back to the agenda. There it is.
So then the next is
business.
yes. So we did add to your packet town meeting, which is March 28th. It's at 9:00. And I just wanted to make sure that you all had that if you had any questions or concerns. The only thing that pertains to the health department is every year we're listed for our immunization revolving account, just, which we have not made any changes to the amount that we currently are allowed to take out of the account. So, yeah.
And that's going to cover enough given the interest we had this year?
Yes, the health department's allowed to take up to 100,000. We did ask for an increase during COVID, the pandemic. We don't go near that right now. About 45,000 a year is what we take out for our flu vaccine. But hopefully that never changes and we don't have to buy additional vaccines in the future. Even this year with COVID vaccines, it was still well under 50,000.
Okay, great. Okay.
And employee wellness, I just wanted to bring to your attention, we have put out quite a few offerings to employees for both financial health, a lunch and learn. We've put out employee discounts is going out this week in the newsletter. We also have 4 opportunities for a wellness series that we're running right now. Things like Sound Bath, Pure Bar. We have Westford is offering pickleball, different things like that for the employee wellness. So we're working with our employee wellness advisory group and Blue Cross Blue Shield, which is the insurance company for the employees here in town. We do have an employee fair coming up May 5th, and that's for all town employees, all 1,200. And so we have about 45 vendors that we're bringing in for that day.
Okay, and that's it, yes?
Last thing is the vaccine. Again, I just put this on your radar that, each year we do have to ask in front of the select board for approval to purchase our vaccine. And we have to put in our reservation by the end of March and for the fall. So you kind of have to predict how much vaccine that you're going to need. And so you can see that that's in your packet as well. Just wanted to bring that to your attention. That will be on March 24th on the select board's agenda for approval.
Do you need anyone there with you or?
No, we put it in each year and just we have to request anytime we want to spend over $10,000, rightfully so. the select board needs to be aware of it and approve that on one of their agendas.
Okay. Great. Thank you, Ray. You're
Sure.
always busy.
Always.
We
Public health
appreciate
never
it.
sleeps.
And no, yes, we appreciate your efforts very much. All right, with that, is there, Michelle, a motion to adjourn?
Well, before we adjourn, I'd like to say what an honor it's been to serve with you all for the past 15 and a half years. We're like a family, and I'm going to really miss working with you guys. And it looks like you have a strong candidate to replace me, and I hope everything continues to go well for everyone.
Thank you so much, Michelle. We really have appreciated having you here, as you've been here longer than I, and you've really been wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thanks,
So
Michelle.
I'll make that motion to adjourn.
Thank you. Motion made. Is there a second?
I can second.
Not
If you
gonna,
don't second, does that mean I
Not gonna
have
do
to
it.
stay?
She's gonna have to
can keep
stay.
her here for, we'll just stay in our meeting forever.
I know. I want you to stay.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, motion made and seconded. All in favor. Joanne,
I
Stephanie, I, Michelle,
Aye.
and Megan.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks, Ray. Have a good evening.